His hands couldn't stop trembling. It had been a whole day since he looked at himself in the mirror without his clothes on. A day since the dread gripped his mind and heart, digging its ice-cold claws into his soul and refusing to let go. He tried so hard, making sure his meals were small to not add to his weight, putting in more work than usual in the gym after work, avoided sweets despite wanting nothing more than to pop a candy into his mouth. And yet, deep down, a tiny voice tried to convince him that it wasn't so bad, that his sides only got a little fuller and no one would mind that. But it was too weak to stand in the way of the overpowering fright, screaming at him about ruining perfection. Because if he wasn't perfect, then what was stopping everyone from turning away from him? They're going to notice. They'll be disgusted and leave. You know that, don't you? He shook his head in a desperate attempt to chase the voice so similar to his mother's out of his head, a weak whine escaping his mouth as he folded his head into his palms. Stop it! They aren't like that. They aren't shallow. And yet, chills ran through his body with the prospect of asking his boyfriends the question. He created the challenge to hopefully distract KyouHabaKinKuni from finding out he was serious. A backup plan, if you will, to have an excuse. But now that it was time to actually ask, he couldn't even get his legs to move. How pathetic was he? No wonder everyone left him eventually. Stop it! A sour taste settled on his tongue. He finally managed to make himself move. He rushed around the bathroom as quickly as possible in a desperate attempt to stop his thoughts, and only stopped downstairs when he spotted Kunimi working by the table. The big brown eyes lifted from the laptop screen, the gaze scorching and chilling in Shigeru's bones. Hey, is everything okay? You are pale. Yeah, I'm fine. He cringed inwardly when Kunimi furrowed his brow. He had to look so stupid and weird. Why did they even want to be around? Then, wanna sit down? I'm almost done with this client. I don't want to distract you. A gentle smile curled Kunimi's lips. You won't. Come on. He even pushed one of the chairs away, far too inviting for Shigeru to refuse again. Unsure what to do with his hands, he clasped them in his lap and waited for Kunimi to be done with work, somewhat fascinated by how pretty his face was when he focused. He's always been pretty. He would probably be surrounded by confessions if he wasn't so in love with you. The reminder stung deep in his chest, making him wonder what exactly Kunimi and Kindaichi saw in him that made them agree to his suggestion a year ago. Especially Kunimi. Have you eaten anything yet? Shigeru flinched. I had breakfast. Yeah, but it's past lunchtime. I'm kinda starving, to be honest. Shigeru was too. Now that Kunimi said it, he realized just how much his empty stomach was hurting, and he could only thank God it wasn't making any sounds anymore. Shigeru? Do you think I gained weight? The question tightened his throat and constricted his chest, but he needed to know. He needed to know if he was becoming too disgusting for his boyfriends to still like him. Kunimi froze in place, his eyes wide and hand tightening on the mouse briefly, before he leaned over the table to capture Shigeru's hand. You didn't! I can't see any change, absolutely none. And even if yes, you are the last person who would have to worry about it. What does that mean? I mean that you would still be cute. Shigeru blinked a few times, confused by Kunimi's logic and the strange, almost strained urgency in his voice. He couldn't sense lies in anything Kunimi did, but... you know what? I was thinking that maybe it wouldn't be too bad if I learned some new recipes. You know, instead of cooking the same 3 things over and over. Oh? Yeah, so, would you help me with that? Please? Sure, I'll be happy to. Why so suddenly, though? Kunimi smiled at him then, and closed the laptop much more harshly than it would ever require to before he tugged on Shigeru's hand. Thank you. Let's start now, can we? Since there's nothing for lunch. Okay. He followed Kunimi into the kitchen, confused, but soon fully focused on explaining the basics of his favorite recipe, while Kunimi seemed surprisingly attentive this time around. Despite enjoying himself quite a lot when teaching Kunimi to cook, he couldn't shake off the strange feeling of restlessness that emitted from his boyfriend the whole time. He didn't think about it too much while they were busy, but now that he was left alone with his thoughts again after Kunimi closed himself in the spare room for a work call, he couldn't stop replaying the whole interaction over and over. It's like he was rushing, but trying to stall for time at the same time. And he's never this talkative either. A heavy feeling settled in his gut. The uncertainty hidden under the surface of what was supposed to be a nice moment spent together sinking his stomach. Sure, Kunimi gave him a negative answer, but what if... I'm home! Shigeru startled, his heart speeding up when he spotted Kindaichi in the doorway, looking as excited as ever. Welcome home. Hey, are you here alone? No, Akira is working. Kindaichi hummed and leaned down for a kiss, the gentle touch chasing the cold from Shigeru's soul for a split second. Okay, then how about we go out together? I just found a great place, I think you would love it. Right now? You just returned. Well, yeah, but I'm not tired today. Come on, I promise it's going to be nice. For a moment, Shigeru wanted to decline. Say he was too tired to go out and disappoint Kindaichi now rather than later. But the hopeful, excited light in Kindaichi's eyes changed his answer completely. Okay, I would love to go. His heart skipped a beat when Kindaichi smiled at him with one of his perfect, knee-weakening smiles, and let himself get pulled up from the couch. Perfect. You don't have to take anything, I have everything we need. I should change. No need, you always look great. Come on, let's go. And Shigeru couldn't but be swayed along despite his weak protests and the strange tightness in his chest. He let Kindaichi lead him through the nearby park, trying to relax and enjoy having his boyfriend close after a few days their careers kept them too busy to hang out properly. It was nice after all, the way his hand fitted perfectly into Kindaichi's large palm, making his skin tingle. But deep down, he worried where exactly Kindaichi was taking him. Maybe we should have let Akira know we would be gone. I'll send him a message, no worries. He's just going to get all grumpy he couldn't come with us. Then, shouldn't we wait for him to finish? A soft smile curled Kindaichi's lips. I wanted to be with you, though. We go out with Aki a lot, but it's been a while since we went together. Shigeru's heart skipped a beat. What Kindaichi said, it had to mean things weren't as bad, right? He never lied, Not about his feelings, at least. And with what Kunimi said earlier, too. I see. Apparently encouraged by that, Kindaichi gave him a quick peck on the cheek before tugging him forward. Come on, we'll be there soon. His excitement was infectious, just like always, and for just a moment, Shigeru managed to forget about the challenge and his fright. That is, until he spotted a small, mostly hidden shop window obviously belonging to a food place, and his heart sank into his stomach. This is the place? Kindaichi's smile wavered. Yeah, do you not like it? I swear the food is great. I tried it yesterday, I'm sure you'll love it. You should have said we were going to eat. He hadn't eaten that much for lunch, and yet his stomach now clenched, returning sour into his throat upon just imagining eating again. He instinctively stepped back, pulling his hand away in the process, guilt hitting him in full force when Kindaichi's face fell. You don't want to? It's just that I'm full already, so it would be a waste of food if we went in. Oh, then we can just get some dessert, what do you think? There's this really cute cafe nearby. They make bunny-shaped cakes and... No, stop, please. I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat anything. He took a shuddered breath, his throat tight. I've gained weight already. I can't eat sweets right now. He was quite sure he saw Kindaichi recoil with his words, the strike of panic in his eyes halting his racing thoughts. You didn't gain weight. Why would you? It's just a little cake. That wouldn't do anything. I swear you look just as beautiful as always. You don't need to watch your weight anymore. What if you end up in a hospital again and... He froze, his hands shooting up to clasp over his mouth. Ice-cold chill rushed through Shigeru's body, his mind flooding with memories of waking up in the hospital bed all those years ago. But underneath that, a much different emotion bubbled, speeding up his heart and clenching his hands. How do you know about that? His voice sounded hollow to his ears. The anguish in Kindaichi's face as he stuttered some words out would be enough of an answer if he didn't know it already. As if on cue, his phone clinked with a message. He went to check it on instinct, perhaps to give himself some time to think, only to be met with Kentaro's name, asking where they were since he just arrived into a mostly empty house. Without answering, he hid the phone again and headed straight back home, only barely hearing Kindaichi rushing after him as well. He didn't look back the whole way home, his head buzzing and yet empty as he barged through the door, only barely stopping himself from slamming them in Kindaichi's face. Yotane furrowed his brow, the audacity to look confused only adding to Shigeru's feelings of betrayal. You told them, didn't you? He hated his voice for hitching, hated how weak and desperate it sounded to his own ears, hated the way Kunimi flinched, just further confirming he was right even before Kyotani opened his mouth. Shigeru, don't you dare to lie to me! You said enough! Kindaichi cowered a little, his eyes darting over to Kyotani. I'm sorry, I panicked. Under any other circumstances, Shigeru would feel bad for putting Kindaichi in the line of fire of an argument. But they had secrets. They betrayed him and didn't say a word. A deep sigh heaved through Kyotani's chest. Yeah, I told them a few months ago. A few months? I asked you not to. I begged you not to tell them. You promised. What was I supposed to tell them then? And everything is fine when it's not? They saw you skipping meals. They were worried. Hikaru paused for a split second, instinctively glancing over to Kindaichi, who quickly took his place next to Kunimi, both looking more and more anxious and guilty by second. Worried. Were they really? Was he acting so weird even they noticed? That's why... They aren't kids, nor blind, Shige. They understand if something isn't right. Can you not talk like we aren't here? Aki. You wanted this relationship. Why do you exclude them on something like this? Because I don't want them to bother with it. It's about your health, for fuck's sake. Shigeru flinched as Kunimi's voice echoed through the living room, his first instinct telling him to cower. He looked mad, really mad, and yet there was pain in his eyes when Shigeru met his gaze, the kind only despair and worries could bring to the surface. You think we want to see you destroy yourself? Aki, I know it's not your fault you think that way. I don't blame you for being scared, but I can't be mad at you for pushing us away. And yet, he didn't seem mad anymore. Sad, bleeding, scared. Those would be more accurate. Shigeru's chest constricted, his throat closing around the words of apologies that wanted but couldn't get out. For causing pain, for worrying them, for not being the kind of person they saw in him. His breath got caught as well when warm palms cradled his cheeks, turning him to face Kentaro again. We want to help you, love. All of us. They love you. You love them as far as I know, so don't push them away. I know you are scared, but this isn't something you should keep secret. He gently bumped their foreheads together, and Shigeru's vision hazed. I'm sorry I went behind your back. I shouldn't have, and you can be mad at me as much as you want. But don't make it look like you don't trust them. He did that, didn't he? Even if unintentionally. That's why Kindaichi panicked so much when he let it slip. That's why Kunimi was so upset now. All that after he was the one to initiate their current relationship. He glanced up, not seeing much, but still scared of what he could find. Sorry. You don't have to be, really. It's not your fault, none of it. You're scared, that's normal. It's not. I don't know what's wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with you. How so? I can't even... Shh. There's nothing wrong with you, okay? You just need help sometimes, that's all. Nothing to be ashamed of. The softest, sincerest of smiles curled his lips as he brushed his thumbs under Shigeru's eyes, letting him know he couldn't even manage to keep the tears hidden. A moment later, he was surrounded by warmth he almost forgot about, crumbling the last remains of his resolve and willpower. He slumped against Gyotani's shoulder, desperately clinging to the gentle voice by his ear as his body shook against his will. There you go. Let it out. It's fine. Come sit down, okay? He had no power left to protest and let Gyotane sit him down on the couch, almost immediately joined by Kunimi by his other side, and the vague shape he recognized as Kindaichi now kneeling in front of him. We fell for you for much more than your looks, and if you're struggling, then you can come to us. We'll help. That's what partners are for. His voice hitched as well, letting Shigeru know he also managed to distress him enough to bring him to tears too. He would give anything to be able to support his boyfriend, apologize and tell him they weren't actually arguing and there was no danger of falling apart. But he couldn't even do that little. Then arms wrapped around him, the softest black hair tickling on his neck. You will always be beautiful, and we'll love you no matter what. We're just scared to lose you to some eating disorder. Cold dread shot through Shigeru's body upon hearing those two words. His mind flooded with the doctors calling it the same name years ago. Disorder. A sign that he was broken. You just need help sometimes. Nothing to be ashamed of. I'm sorry. He instinctively closed his eyes when Kyotani gently lifted his chin. Little jolt running through his skin where Kyotani's palm touched him. You have nothing to be sorry for. It's not going to be easy to convince yourself, I know. But it's okay to ask when you need something. Help, company, hugs, anything. We'll give it to you. Yeah, anytime. Unable to say a word anymore, Shigeru managed to just nod before his body gave up on him, sending him right into the waiting arms of his closest and dearest.